Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we discover the fight for freedom, fulfillment, passion, and purpose. Your host is Curt Mercadante, Gallup certified strengths coach, an agency founder who is dedicated to coaching individuals seeking to level up their life and their businesses. The Freedom Club is about unlocking your talents, turning them into strengths, and crushing your objectives. You can learn more at curtmercadante.com. Welcome to the Freedom Club.
This is the Freedom Club Podcast. I'm your host, Curt Mercadante. It is Monday, June 25th, which means it's time for the Monday Motivator segment. Every Monday, I bring you a short burst of motivation to help you kick your week off on the right foot. Every Thursday is the interview segment, in which I interview a business leader or some other all-around interesting person. And I want to thank you so much for being here and listening. Listen, this podcast has been growing by leaps and bounds every single month, and it's all because of listeners like you. So thank you for listening. Whether this is your first time listening or your 39th time listening, I appreciate you very much. And please, if I could ask you a favor today, if you like this podcast, heck, if this is your first time listening to this podcast and you get to the end of it and think, that wasn't that bad. And you know what? I might recommend this to other people. Please stop by wherever you're listening, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Please leave us a good rating, review. Maybe share us on Facebook with your friends, family, and colleagues. Anyone who you think would benefit from hearing our message of freedom and fulfillment. So for today's Monday Motivator segment, I just want to bring you a story. Yesterday, I was talking with a client, someone who had signed up for one of my mini coaching courses. It was called Your Purpose is Your Brand. And the basis of that course is really digging down deep to not only find your untapped superpowers. You know, we take the Gallup StrengthsFinder assessment to determine those naturally occurring patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that you can productively apply and turn into strengths, turn into your superpowers. But then we work on helping you to find your purpose, your vision for your life, that outcome, that desired outcome you want for your life, so that then you can use that fundamental self-awareness to help build your brand. And so this client, we do some calls as part of that. He said, listen, I came into this program for personal branding, but man, as we started working on my untapped superpowers and trying to determine my vision, I realized, now this is someone who's in his late 30s, he's an attorney, I realized that I'm really not in the right place right now, and I don't know what my vision is, and I've been trying to think about it, and I've had trouble coming up with that vision. And I told him, you shouldn't feel bad about that at all. So many people are in that same position. When they're in their 20s or 30s, they think they have time to figure it all out. But once you get into your 40s, once you start having kids, right? Once people close to you start passing away, you start to see 60, 65. You can start seeing it down the highway, and you start to think about these things. And unfortunately, some people think about it too late, or they reject the notion that they should think about it. I've had a few people comment over the past several months that, well, it's okay, you should have multiple visions, multiple purposes. And usually the people who say, well, it's good to have multiple purposes, those are the people who are complete messes. The people who go from coach to coach to coach telling us what a mess their life is, but then they tell other people, well, you should be just like me. It's okay. One purpose. You don't need one purpose. And that's just fundamentally not the case, right? Because what they think of purpose is actually an objective. When you're 20s, you think, well, my purpose is to make partner and make $100,000. And when I get to 30, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. Those are objectives, right? But your life's purpose is your life's purpose. It is the desired outcome for your entire life. Those things we talked about, whether they're career, whether they're work, family, whether they're for yourself, those are objectives along the way. But if your objectives don't line up to point toward your vision, then you will be out of alignment. You will be lacking that sense of fulfillment. And so the key is building an outcomes-focused life. Your life outcome is that vision, that one or two sentences. Listen, if you die an hour from now or you die 40 years from now, and the person who has been tasked with delivering your eulogy is allotted one or two sentences, What are the 1 or 2 sentences you would want that person to say to sum up your life and your legacy? What do you want your kids to hear, your grandkids to hear, your wife, your family? That 1 to 2 sentences is your vision statement. That is the purpose that you are aiming to. Then you work backwards, right? You have your annual objectives, which should be big and audacious, yes, and they should also point toward your life vision. And you work backwards from there. What's your monthly desired outcome? What's your weekly desired outcome? And yes, what is your daily desired outcome? What is that 1 or 2 things you're going to do today that moves you toward your life vision? And when you focus on doing just that 1 or 2 thing every day, your life vision doesn't seem so big and audacious after all, because every single day you're moving toward it. So if you're someone who's, I don't care what age you're at, but especially if you get into your 40s or 50s or late 30s and you really start panicking that I really don't know my life vision. I don't know what my purpose is. Don't worry, because you're not alone. But know this, it's not too late, because I don't care if you're 25 or 65. If you have 1 hour left to live or 40 years left to live, why would you want to spend 1 millisecond more without a life of freedom and fulfillment? So if you don't know your life vision, start finding it now. If you need help, send me a note, send me a comment on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. I don't care where. Send me an email. Come to my website and find me, because my mission in life is to help you. And if you don't hire me, find another coach, but get someone who can help you along that journey, who can hold your hand every step of the way to ensure that you're living an outcomes-focused life. Because when you do that, my friends, you will find freedom and fulfillment. This has been the Monday Motivator for June 25th on the Freedom Club Podcast. I'm your host, Curt Mercadante. Thank you so much for listening. Take care.